Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video I'm super excited to have Toshi and Matt come join us to talk about anti-meta in general, and then as well talk about some anti-meta picks for the Jungle Cup. These are two amazing trainers that are ranked super high. They're season one. They won regionals and they were season one champion invites, and Matt was a top four finalist. So both incredible trainers that run a lot of really strange anti-meta Pokemon, but have found a ton of success in using those Pokemon and going off meta. So, anyways, enough of me talking. Let's go ahead and join the call and get started. So, welcome, gentlemen. I'm gonna have you guys introduce yourselves. Joe, why don't we start with you? You're gonna give us an introduction
All right.
about yourself and your Pokemon Go journey.
Okay. Hey, everybody. My name is Joe McMahon. Toshi9227. I'm a player from Buffalo, New York. I've been playing the game since it debuted. Level 40, 200 million XP. And I've been playing PvP since it started. I've won a cup in each month so far. I'm currently ranked 25 in the world. I got second place in the Toronto Regionals, and I'm really excited for Jungle.
All right, perfect. And Matt, we've had you on previously, but why don't you give the audience a little background about yourself as well?
Yeah, I'm Matt, also known as MattSuar. I ended up going top four in the the North American Championships in Chicago last week, I think. And I've been playing PvP since it also started, since it debuted. And I've also been playing PvP in the actual Pokemon game. So that really helped me a lot in learning all the typings and learning the advantages and how to start and stuff like that. So
Perfect. And I think both of you have contributed a lot to the anti-meta discussion, but I'm really looking forward to getting some of your inputs and insights around it, because I know you've found a lot of success in running anti-meta. So my question here, just a really broad question so everyone's on the same page. How do you define anti-meta in regards to PvP and gaming in general? Whoever wants to take it.
I'll take it. All right. Well, first, I'd probably define anti-meta in two different ways. You can look at anti-meta Pokemon, which are Pokemon that just don't really appear in the meta, whether they have big flaws or whether they're not deemed quite as valuable as other Pokemon. But I'd also consider anti-meta to be meta Pokemon used in unusual ways. For example, my Rainbow team, which most people would deem anti-meta, had a lot of meta Pokemon in it, but it just the way I ran it, the lines I used, the different strategy I used was deemed an anti-meta strategy. So I think there's two different ways of looking at it, and I'll probably try to address both of them today.
All right, perfect. Matt, anything you want to contribute to that?
I define anti-meta of a Pokemon that people just throw away. Like they don't give it a second thought. And because of that, they feel like they don't know what they do. And since they don't know what to do, since they don't know what they do, they don't know what to do. So, yeah, basically. And also, I also think because a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, use PV Poke, which is an excellent resource. And I feel like anything that isn't in the top 20, people tend to just dismiss and also not consider meta.
Yeah, for sure. And I think obviously, even like broadly, all the content is mostly about the meta, because I think it takes a lot of skill and a lot of thought to go anti-meta. So, why don't you tell us why each of you prefer to run anti-meta in PvP, and tell us about some of your successes in running anti-meta. Notable wins, surprises, moments, all that good stuff.
Okay, you go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The reason I run anti-meta is because I feel like when everyone runs the same 6 or 7 Pokemon, a lot of times matches can come down to coin flips. If I have a Charizard and a Venusaur and you have a Charizard and a Venusaur, a lot more comes down to just who leads what than actual strategy. And I feel like a lot of times if you run Pokemon that are different and you get comfortable using Pokemon that aren't exactly what your opponent will have, it gives you more flexibility to work, it gives you more flexibility to strategize, it just gives you opportunities that you might not otherwise have. I saw a lot of videos in the Rainbow Cup, where you'd have one guy with a Charizard, a Venusaur, and a Fortress, and another guy with a Charizard, a Venusaur, and a Fortress, and it just it's a lot easier to just lose the coin flip and then lose the game in that situation.
Yeah, perfect. And tell us about some of previous Cup anti-meta Pokemon that you've run, and what people's reactions were when you were battling them, or some moments that really captured why running anti-meta can be successful.
Okay. Well, most recently in the Rainbow Cup, I went I think 13-2 in my 3 tournaments, and I used Venomoth in almost every single game. I immediately loved Venomoth. I couldn't understand why it wasn't more meta. I'm just checking PD Poke right now, and it doesn't appear to be in the top 20 unless I'm missing it. And the thing I loved about it was that it is, in my opinion, the single hardest Venusaur counter in the game, because it's the only Pokemon that resists poison, double resists grass, so it resists every single thing Venusaur has, and it deals a super effective fast move. So I realized in the very beginning that I could farm it on just fast moves, take very little damage from Frenzy Plant or Sludge Bomb, and it also paired them with a charge move that was a 35 energy move, which is really, really big.
Yeah.
I would go into tournaments against really strong teams and almost sweep with Venomoth. If I locked in a Venusaur, I'd be able to beat the Venusaur on fast moves and almost have enough charge energy to also beat a Charizard that came in after it, despite the fact that Charizard is the main counter for Venomoth. So that was probably when I decided that I would go in anti-meta direction. I just checked. Venomoth is the 20th ranked Pokemon on PvPoke, so I guess it's not super anti-meta, but it definitely wasn't the lawnmower, as they put it, that most people went with.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people view lawnmowers as Charizard, Mantine, or Fortress. So I think
exactly.
Running Venomoth and sweeping and using it almost in every single one of your teams is a bold move.
I think I used it every single game except 2 out of my 40 or so games.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
All right, Matt, would you tell us why you prefer to run anti-meta, and tell us about some of your successes in running anti-meta?
So I prefer running anti-meta because sometimes the anti-meta Pokemon are just a lot more fun than the meta Pokemon, and like people's reactions are also like, the heck? What the heck? What am I going to do against this Pokemon? It's like, well, because you don't know, you'll learn once it does what it needs to do. And then people are like, oh, that's what it does. Let me see how I can counter it. And then I'm like, well, now that you know how to counter it, I'm gonna bring the counter to that counter, and then it just becomes more of a mind game. So, and I always find it fun. And sometimes the funnest Pokemon are the ones that people aren't expecting. Yeah. So that's why I like to run anti-meta.
Tell us about some of your successes in running anti-meta, and how has it helped you carry yourself to victory?
So I'm looking at my self-trainer card, and I kind of tend to run a little bit more with the meta picks than the anti-metas. But I do remember in the Boulder Cup that no one even thought about Relicanth, and I brought Relicanth, and it was a Skarmory counter, and it scared people away. And I remember that I brought it in almost every single game in the Boulder Cup, and that really got people. And then in the Twilight Cup, I know T-Tar was in no one's radar, and nor was Victory Bell, and those two really carried me, because T-Tar actually, if with enough energy and no shields down, T-Tar can almost one-shot with Stone Edge against an Azumarill, which is what everyone was bringing. And it was also able to take care of basically the Venomoths and the Poison Dark types. And I would always run that. And then I would see, I don't remember if a Alolan Sandslash was meta in
probably not.
In Tempest. And I ran that one too, and people were like, oh, why are you running a Alolan Sandslash? I'm like, it beats all the other ice types, and it made me win like almost all my games whenever I brought it in. And then Kingdom was my worst cup. I ended up bringing a Combuskin there because my friend and we were looking at Combuskin. And if people didn't shield correctly, Combuskin's Rock Slide can do, I think, about 55% to an Altaria if they don't shield it. So the whole entire point of Combuskin was it takes out Lucario with just Ember, and then it has enough energy for a Rock Slide to take down whatever is next. And I remember my practices that Combuskin will actually really help me in winning some of my games.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Actually leads me to interesting question for you guys. What do you think the easiest cup so far to run anti-meta, and which one was the hardest? Or if you give yourself a little bit of time to think about like how you'd rank in from easiest to hardest, because I do think some cups lend themselves to running anti-meta more so than others.
I thought for sure Boulder, for the sole reason that if you didn't know how PvP worked, and I don't mean just in this game, I mean if you didn't know how PvP worked in general, it was kind of easy because everyone was looking at the same article. And so everyone brought Skarmory, brought Medicham, and brought a Melmetal. And so it was kind of easy because no one really knew what to do. No one knew how to build teams or what was considered good, like in general. So people used to just bring the same three. I'm like, okay, since you're going to bring the same three, it's not that hard for me to really just play. Since I know my tap advantages, I know how the damage calculations already work in this game. I'm just like, this is kind of an easy victory for me because I don't want to say that, people were bad, but people weren't used to it yet. So people didn't really know what to expect. Absolutely. So it was kind of easier and bolder, at least for me.
How about for you, Joe? What do you think the easiest and hardest ones are? Or what were some easier ones? What were some more difficult ones?
I think one of the easier ones to run anti-meta would have been Kingdom, just think off the top of my head. Mostly because the top Pokemon were so easily hard countered. Mm-hmm. You have Lucario and you have Bastiodon, which are really polarizing Pokemon because they're really, really good in the right matchups, but also really easily taken advantage of. I didn't use any of these Pokemon, but if you wanted to run an off-meta team in Kingdom, I mean, Alolan Dugtrio beats Bastiodon really badly. Anything with fire, like you was mentioning earlier, Combuskin, anything with a fire fast move beats Lucario really badly. So I feel like that's a meta where you can really take advantage of the big weaknesses of the top Pokemon. Yeah, if you want to run an anti-meta. I ran Dragonair. Maybe not the most anti-meta Pokemon, but I ran it almost every game. And it really helped me a lot. So that was actually one of my favorite cups.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think it makes total sense. I remember hearing someone tell me, because there's Aaron from Las Vegas, I believe that's where he's from. He only runs shiny Pokemon in and obviously to counter Bastiodon, typically people use Lucario. I think he ran MattSuar and then realized that he could just take it out with mud slaps and take out the MattSuar. So sometimes people have creative answers for that. Okay, that's great, and a lot of really great insights around anti-meta picks that you guys have run and considerations for it. So when we talk about Jungle Cup, I kind of view the meta as Vigoroth, obviously the meta-defining Pokemon. A flyer, typically Noctowl, and then electric. There's like lots of different options. Some people are gonna prefer. I'm gonna call it the Rock Boys. Yeah, Alolan Golem, Alolan Graveler. Magneton, Magnezone, Raichu, Lantern, lots of different electric types that are viable in our meta, and then typically an anti-Vigoroth counter that would carry counter, so like Heracross, Breloom, and then a grass user, typically Venusaur, but there's a few other ones that are available, then a flex pick. So what I want to dive into is, I think the Pokemon that people are going to bring almost in every single one of their teams of 3 are going to be Vigoroth and Noctowl. So what anti-meta Pokemon do you feel that pair well with Vigoroth?
You can go first, Matt.
I'm trying to see because Vigoroth is pure normal type, so what would be super effective would be another fighting type. And I'm trying to find out who else has fighting moves. Well, you can use Victory Bell because it's part poison.
Yeah, so
you'll be resisting. So you'll be resisting the counters. Roselia too. Roselia does damage. So does Roserade. and they're also both part poison, and they get Razor Leaf, so that should do. Should good.
How
Should good.
How do they pair up against like Heracross, for example? Going up against Heracross,
They fall. They will both fall. Roselia falls to it, and so does Victory Bow. But at least with Victory Bow, you can get an Acid Spray off and get down the. And what?
Oh yeah, no. So yeah, I think because yeah, so I think a lot of people would think like bringing Breloom or Heracross to counter Vigoroth, and so I think some anti-minded Pokemon that cover against those two would be strong ones that would pair well with Vigoroth.
You can use Executor actually, as well. Sorry.
Something I was thinking off that, I think something like, well, first of all, I think anything that pair with Vigoroth would want to resist counter.
Yeah.
For the reasons that you mentioned, and also it would want to deal damage against the bug meta, because the bug meta is also a developing meta to counter Vigoroth. You got like Vespiquen beats Vigoroth, Beedrill beats Vigoroth. So I think a really good pairing would be something that resists counter and also can hit the bug meta. And so something I was thinking of was Yanma or Yanmega.
Yep.
They both get wing attack that just you can beat Breloom and Heracross on fast moves.
Yeah.
And they also have ancient power. I'm going to be mentioning that a lot today. I love the rock attacks in this meta. I love the fact that a Yanmega can beat a Heracross with fast moves and then one-shot a Beedrill or a Vespiquen with ancient power. Because
without the boost, right?
Without the boost, yeah. There's so many Pokemon that are becoming meta because they resist counter, but are also double weak to rock, that I think rock is going to be huge. And I love Pokemon like Yanmega, Armaldo, Cradily a little bit, although not quite as much, Tangrowth, things that have access to rock moves that can really deal damage on the bug flying meta.
All right, perfect. So how about some Pokemon that go against Vigoroth? So like you want to run some off meta Pokemon, throw your opponent off, that go against Vigoroth that maybe not as meta.
Nothing. Body Slam just kills everything. I'm here.
Yeah, certainly there's gonna be no anti-meta Pokemon that are hard counters like you might find in Kingdom against Lucario, for example.
Yeah,
or
there are no hard counters.
So,
but what are some soft counters?
So technically, a PvP perfect Executor with Confusion can knock out a Vigoroth and be left with 21 HP.
Okay. All right. Well, just what?
So you have that.
Move? Seed Bomb?
No, you had to do Seed Bomb twice.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
To kill it. Because if you don't Seed Bomb twice, let me see. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, if you don't. Oh, actually, you can conserve your charge move, knock it out. Although it will have a Body Slam though if you don't use your second charge move. So. So either you waste 2 shields because it gets off 3 Body Slams, or you just die. One of the two.
I think you almost need to use a shield, even with Heracross and Breloom.
Oh yeah, I did a 1 shield because that's how I always test out my things.
No, so do I. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly, especially Breloom. I don't think Breloom can actually survive whatever the 5 counters and a Body Slam.
No,
Heracross can because it resists the counter damage, but so Executor, that's an interesting pick. And then I think a lot of like I think someone mentioned to me, I'm not sure this is viable. I'm sure you guys know, Lady Anne. Like any of the bug flying that double resist.
Any of the bug flying really.
Yeah,
would work.
We'll do okay, not well. Like do
right. Nothing does well, but
yeah, perfect.
I'm seeing this, and it's just I'm thinking about Pokemon. I'm like, oh, what if they get fast moves really fast? Like, what if they get really good charge moves to spam out fast moves? You just can't beat it.
What I think you're gonna have to do is I think the bug flying meta is really the way to go. Because they resist counter really well, and there are actually a lot of good ones. I was just looking. Masquerain is a good option with Air Slash, Silver Wind, and Ominous Wind. There's also a lot of options for boosts in that moveset. Like I said
Ladion
earlier,
actually faints.
yeah, Ladion.
Ladion faints because you get 4 body slams off.
Oh my
So
god.
it faints against Vigoroth.
Oh damn.
Damn. Okay.
And that's with Bug Bite. I'm gonna see what happens if you do Struggle Bug.
I think Struggle Bug's
That'd
even
be
worse.
worse. Yeah, it's even worse.
Actually, it's left with less HP with Struggle Bug.
No.
Okay. All right.
Because you get a silver one off.
Yeah, and then hope for the boost.
Get 2.
That's all you're really waiting for.
I
Okay.
really like Beedrill too.
Beedrill. Yeah, Beedrill.
It ends up with a lot more HP than a lot of Pokemon. It'll end up with 31 HP in the one shield, which is a lot. Sludge Bomb just hits like a truck. That might be assuming you can get get rid of a shield with Aerial Ace first. Yeah, it is. So if you can get them to shield the Aerial Ace and then get a Sludge Bomb off, Beedrill does extremely well against Vigoroth.
Perfect. So you're gonna run
Oh,
Aerial Ace and Sludge Bomb.
Yeah,
Oh,
for sure.
Aerial Ace, obviously,
Actually-
for other bugs, right?
Oh,
Yeah, but honestly, I think Sludge Bomb is key. It's just really good on Beedrill. It beats a lot of the meta, especially if you're going to run into the grass meta. It wrecks Tangrowth. It wrecks anything that's not poison,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and it just does the most damage.
or Steel.
Right. And actually, I just checked, and even if you don't bait a shield with Aerial Ace, if you only run Sludge Bomb, it still beats Vigoroth pretty decisively.
Nice. All right.
So.
Okay, Matt, you were saying?
Actually, yeah. So the King comes back. Ludicolo beats out Vigoroth with just Razor Leaf.
Does
With
that?
just Razor Leaf, it takes 2 counters and Vigoroth dies with a Body Slam. And this is a PvP perfect Vigoroth against. I did it against a random Ludicolo that PvP Poke throws out, and then I did it against like a technically a perfect PvP Ludicolo, and both versions defeat Vigoroth, and you get a charge move off, depending on what you want.
That's a good point, actually. Razor Leaf, there's no real defense to Razor Leaf. It does neutral damage. If you have a shield to block maybe just a single body slam, anything with Razor Leaf will probably do pretty well against Vigoroth.
Yeah. And what charge moves are you gonna run on Ludicolo? So
It does worse with Bubble, actually. I would run Ice Beam for the. I would run it the same way I ran it in the championships, which is Ice Beam for the grass types and the flying types that will threaten it, and then Hydro Pump as a stab move that just hits everything for like a lot more damage. And the reason why I don't run Solar Beam, because I remember someone mentioned this back home. They're like, "Oh, why don't you run Solar Beam instead of Hydro Pump?" I'm like, I said I don't run Solar Beam for the sole reason that my grass coverage is already in Razor Leaf. So there's no point in having double grass coverage when I can have the water coverage that I'm lacking.
Yeah, no, makes sense. Makes sense. All right, so let's move on to Noctowl. What Pokemon, off meta, anti meta Pokemon do you think pair well with Noctowl? So Noctowl is obviously worried about the electric types and the
Right.
rock ones.
Well, I think first of all, the biggest threat to Noctowl is going to be your Rock Boys because they double resist flying.
Mhm.
It's just it's the hardest wall you can get to Noctowl, the Graveler or the Golem. So I've had a lot of success pairing Noctowl with a counter user, either a Breloom, a Heracross, or a Vigoroth. Just because if it gets walled by a rock, you have an answer to that. And they don't really get beaten by a lot of the same things. You know, the rocks are weak to counter. They're weak to water. The only issue if you're running both of those would be probably Lantern.
Yeah.
It has the water and the electric to take on both of those. But other than that, it's pretty solid coverage. And they work pretty well together just because I usually like if I have a Pokemon that has a really hard counter, I like to just defend against that hard counter.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Matt, any additional insights, Pokemon that you might consider that would?
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. Noctowl is normal flying, so it takes neutral damage from counter. It takes super effective from rock and takes super effective from electric.
Yeah.
So you can use like Ampharos, because Ampharos resists everything, and it's actually a pretty tanky Pokemon. If you really sit down and look at its stats, it actually tanks. The only thing is it doesn't have really charge moves. The only charge move you would use would be Charge Beam. But it would pair well with... Well, it will go well against Noctowl, but pairing well with Noctowl, you want the resistances for counter and for electric and rock. but that's kind of hard because the things that resist counter get hit by the electric and the rock type.
Yeah.
So-
So imagine that they're gonna run a Alolan. They have a Alolan Graveler. What would be some anti-meta Pokemon that people that you might run or consider to take down the Rock Boys specifically?
Shiftry. I mean, not Shiftry. Sorry, Ludicolo. Because Ludicolo actually does surprisingly well against the electric types because it's part grass, so it's able to resist all the electric types, and it's able to just deal so much damage with Razor Leaf. And don't ever underestimate Razor Leaf because that will just. It doesn't matter if you resist it because I've done my Ludicolo against Skarmory, double resist Razor Leaf, and it brings it down to almost half HP. Just off Razor Leaf.
Yeah, no, Razor Leaf is ridiculous. Another option that I was scrolling for some more off meta options. Grottle is really interesting.
Oh, Grottle, okay, yeah.
Because it pairs Razor Leaf with a really low energy move, so it can eventually use a charge move. It gets Razor Leaf and Body Slam. It also gets Energy Ball and Solar Beam if you want to do a little more damage at some point. But I assume that the vast majority of the time you'd be using Razor Leaf and Body Slam. It's obviously a hard counter to Lantern, Graveler, and Golem. It'll beat them on Razor Leafs. And Body Slam should be spammy enough, for maybe some tankier electric Pokemon like Minun or Pachirisu.
Yeah, exactly. And if
I think Totara is better.
You think? Yeah, no, it's good too. It just doesn't get.
Body Slam.
I don't love it. Yeah, it doesn't get Body Slam, although Stone Edge and Earthquake are amazing coverage.
Yeah, but I think that part ground. Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. Oh yeah, the park ground typing is probably.
I think the part ground is really what separates the Torterra with the Grotto, because Grotto can spam Body Slam, but I think Torterra being that part ground type, it's able to resist a lot more things, especially electric types.
That'll hurt it against Lantern, is the thing to worry about.
Yeah, let's talk about what about. So that's like anti-Rock Boys. How about anti-Lantern, which I think will be a very common option. What are some potential off-meta, anti-meta Pokemon?
Actually, Torterra easily handles Lantern with Water Gun.
Oh, because
neutral,
right?
On
just because it gets because Water Gun does neutral damage, and the only thing it could spam you with for the charge move would be Thunderbolt. So you easily take care of Lantern, and you almost get an Earthquake and a Stone Edge off. Like you're
nice.
2 Razor Leaves off from a Stone Edge, and I think 3 more Razor Leaves off from an Earthquake, and you just kill off just Razor Leaf. So I think Torterra will be better.
Water, you can kill off with Razor Leaf. It would be.
All right, perfect.
All right,
and then you just.
I have a fun pick next.
Yeah, let's what's a fun pick?
For Lantern, someone was mentioning the other day, Farfetch'd.
Farfetch.
Oh yeah.
Because is this a Leaf Blade? Leaf Blade.
As Leaf Blade, yes.
Leaf Blade, yeah.
Fury Cutter Leaf Blade's so nice, and people would never expect it.
No, if you run Fury Cutter Leaf Blade, I'd also run Aerial Ace.
Yeah.
It just beats Lantern really badly. Assuming a Water Gun Lantern, but it actually beats Charging Lantern as well. And if you run a Air Slash Farfetch'd, which arguably is a better overall pick, it still beats Lantern, just not by as much. Because Leaf Blade is just so good. The thing about Air Slash is that while it still covers Lantern, it also will just destroy any of the bugs in the meta.
Yeah.
But any form of Farfetch'd will beat a Lantern.
Nice. Okay. All right. How about the last? Well, how about for the pure electrics? Raichu in this case.
Okay.
What do you think are some options?
Torterra.
Torterra, yeah.
Yeah, no, Torterra is a good option. Pretty much, honestly, anything that's grass or ground. And Brick Break is not going to be a big concern. It doesn't do a whole lot unless it's super effective. It's mostly just there for the normal types and to bait shields. So Torterra would be a good option. If you're running a Tangrowth anyway for the Ancient Power, Tangrowth rolls over Raichu. Shiftry, like I think you mentioned earlier. Pretty much anything that resists Wild Charge will run over a Raichu.
Perfect. Okay, how about going up against a Noctowl? What are some like off-meta picks that would throw people off or that people may underestimate when they bring out their Noctowl?
I really like Armaldo.
Armaldo, okay.
Armaldo is the fastest Pokemon to a Rock Charge move in this meta.
Ooh, okay.
Because it pairs 40 energy Rock Blast with Fury Cutter, which is a really good charging move. So it in neutrals in one shot situations, I think it still loses. I ran it earlier; it loses by a couple HP, but it does extremely well, and it gets to a Rock Blast before Noctowl gets to a Sky Deck, which I feel is important because I feel at that point you can dictate the match.
Yeah.
You can decide when the shields happen. You can decide if you want to switch out of it. If they don't shield properly, if they don't shield the Rock Blast properly, you can win. If you wanted to give it an extra shield, you can win. I really like the fact that Armaldo can spam a Rock Charge move, and nothing else in this meta can do that.
All right, perfect. Matt, thoughts on anti-meta Pokemon that go up against Noctowl?
Minun does okay. I really want to use Minun. I have like a Great League. I have a Great League ready Minun too, and I've been wanting to use it. And just, I can't.
Spark.
It beats Noctowl with about 48. So about 40 HP left, 40% HP left. So it beats it, and then it gets enough to almost discharge or Thunderbolt again.
Yeah, I love Minun. Its stat pool is really good. Its moves are really good.
And then let me see. I want to see my Netric real quick.
How about like any thoughts on like I think it was in Valor Ash's video. Someone ran this is in Rainbow, but similar effect. They ran a Jolteon.
Because of Last Resort.
Because of Last Resort, I think people underestimate how hard Last Resort hits.
And if they're not expecting it, it can be a really powerful move.
And then with Thundershock and Discharge, it's like quite spammy.
Yeah,
it is squishy though, but
yeah, it's very squishy. But I mean, a lot of the electric meta is squishy. That's why like a tankier one like Pachirisu or Minun would be nice.
How
valuable do you think Pachirisu?
Honestly, I don't think it's bad. Let me just pull it up real fast. It even if it only peaks at 12, 13 CP, it's got really strong defense and stamina stats. It has a really nice moveset. It gets Spark and Thunder Punch, which I love. It gets Thunderbolt. I'm probably not going to run one, but I definitely think there are worse options.
Yeah, perfect. Matt, any other insights around anti-meta Pokemon?
Hold on. I think this will be funny if it works. Hold on. Nope. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say Pineco. If people don't shield a Rock Tomb, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, it has a very strong positive matchup versus Pineco.
No, I was telling my friend to run Pineco in Rainbow Cup, and he's like, "Why would I?" And I'm like, "Rock Tomb one-hit KOs Charizard, and no one's going to shield against Pineco the first time." I mean, you can never use it again. You can only use it that one battle, that one time. But it's funny when someone says, Pineco, that's easy, I kill it. And then it just Rock Tombs and your Charizard dies.
Yeah. I was really excited about Dunsparce when I first saw it because it's a normal Pokemon, so it's...
It beats Magnezone. It beats Magnezone just off Bite.
It does. It
only has 7 HP left, but it beats Magnezone on Bite.
The problem is, I was so excited about it with Rock Slide, and with fast moves like that, it'll never get to a Rock Slide. Every Pokemon that I wanted to use it against beats it to the charge move. Okay, so I'm less excited about it.
Okay, here's one for you guys to look up or to think about.
Luxio.
Okay, here's one that beats Noctowl that people might not consider. Alolan Raticate.
Alolan Raticate's fun. It's got so much damage. What moveset do you have on that?
It's Quick Attack, Crunch, and Hyper Beam.
Okay.
And it beats Noctowl only in the one shield.
Okay.
You can use Luxio too. Beats Noctowl in the one shield as well. And I know people really want to flex that shiny Shinx family if they can. Yeah. They get the chance.
How viable is Alolan Raticate outside of beating Noctowl in the one shield?
Nope, not worth it.
No.
The problem is it loses too badly to the bugs.
Okay, yeah, because it's.
Oh, I'm just thinking of the counter users. I'm just thinking
Oh, yeah, that's
any
it.
counter user, you're done. Like,
Yeah, no, it's like.
forget it.
And then I guess the
You
Rock
could-
Boys would resist quick attack.
Yeah, it loses to like everything else for the most part.
Okay, we're gonna put you down. I really wanted to use that. I think it was like a rank 5 Alolan Rattata that I caught in Buffalo when.
Yeah, I was
We're
gonna say,
already-
Okay.
mine ran on me.
Yeah, well, so but
Can someone explain to me why Wigglytuff has 224 HP in Great League? In just Great League, it has 200 HP,
it's that's
and it beats Noctowl.
oh, okay, Wigglytuff. That's interesting. So what?
I mean, you're left with 21 out of the 224, but you beat it.
okay.
Yeah.
How about other anti-meta picks that go against the meta for in jungle?
Okay, so just looking through here, I heard a lot about Ninjask.
Ninjas, okay,
Yeah, I was about to say that. I'm like, I want to run a Ninjask.
The only issue being that the main calling card for Ninjask is Shadow Ball, and normal will resist that.
Mhm.
But if you pair it against other things, it's really fast to a Shadow Ball because Fury Cutter, and it has the shield baiting of Aerial Ace.
Yep.
It has some pretty interesting matchups. Let me just check here. It does really well against the grass, obviously, and the bugs of the meta because it'll resist a lot of their moves and it'll deal hard neutral damage. It does really well against Fortress, really well against Vespa Queen, really well against Meganium. Pretty much anything that where it'll resist most of their moves and then hit them with the neutral Shadow Ball.
Yep, I see that.
Or Aerial Ace, because it gets
So, yeah,
Aerial Ace.
right, or Aerial Ace. Unfortunately, it does really badly against the rocks.
Yeah,
it is
I was
really bad.
trying to see.
Yeah. Alolan Graveler and Alolan Golem, they tear it apart the same way they do with any of the other bug Pokemon.
Yeah, the bug flying.
Yeah, I was trying to see maybe if Metal Claw changes anything. It actually takes 5 less HP from a golem.
Yeah.
But it's not worth it.
No, it's not.
All right. What are some other picks that you guys have interesting ones that people should be considering and looking at in their team compensation?
Staraptor. I think Staraptor is a good replacement for, well, not the best replacement for Noctowl, but I think it's pretty good because if you get that energy going with Noctowl, you have close combat, and that just hits everything minus the bug flying types for super effective damage or neutral.
Ooh, I actually had no idea it had close combat.
Yeah.
It gets CC. I'm sorry, close combat. So it's able to hurt.
Oh, so like if you have like a, because if I had no other options, if I didn't have any electrics or they were taken out, I would just switch in my Vigor off and.
Yeah, close combat actually OHKOs Alolan Golem. 1-hit KOs it with just the charge move.
Yep.
Okay, that's a interesting. I think not a lot of people know that Staraptor has a close combat as a charge move, so kind of an anti-meta consideration there.
For me, something that's interesting, I might not run it because it has a lot of weaknesses, but something that's interesting is Alolan Raichu.
Okay.
The reason being that it beats all the Pokemon that you'd want an electric Pokemon to beat. It beats Noctowl, it beats the other flyers, and it's psychic, so it resists counter. So it does a lot better against Vigoroth and the other counter users than most of the electric meta. The problem being that the psychic typing also means it carries a weakness to bug.
Yeah. No,
So it has a lot of vulnerabilities that other electrics won't, but it's something to keep an eye on because there's not that much that does that well against Vigoroth and Noctowl.
yeah, for sure. I think the Go Stadium people were saying that it's the only Pokemon that can have positive matchups versus Vigoroth and Noctowl, which I think will be obviously very common Pokemon. And
It is very interesting. And also, I mentioned it earlier, but I'm in love with Yanmega.
Yeah.
It's only ranked number 79 on PvPoke, so it's way down at the bottom. But I love the coverage. I love everything that and also PvPoke doesn't seem to have the moveset that I like, so it'll be really off meta.
Yeah, no. So
I think I have the Yanmega. I have a 0-14-14, which I think is the number 2
Nice.
Yanmega.
Yeah, I've been trading like crazy for Yanmas since this came out. Right now it's probably in my 6, although I change it every day, so I don't know.
yeah, no. It's like and Joe, I know you had some discussion in some chats the case for Yanmega over Yanma?
Yes. Yep. The main thing is that Yanma is a little bit tankier. Yanmega has higher attack. Usually you want tankier things in this meta, but I was actually going through some matchups, and Yanmega can flip a lot of matchups because of its higher attack. Yanmega can beat a Heracross just on wing attacks before Heracross gets to a charge move, whereas Yanma takes one extra wing attack and Heracross gets to Mega Horn, which is a big deal because Mega Horn does like half of Yanma's health.
Yep.
Also, Yanmega does better against Fortress because Fortress can get to, I think, a second Rock Tomb, which is a one-hit KO.
Wow.
Like a 2 seconds faster against Yanma just because Ancient Power is doing less damage. So there are interesting matchups like that where Yanmega can have a slight edge because of its higher attack stat. But for the most 90% of the situations, they're the exact same. They're so similar.
Yeah. But I think those are
Actually, Yanmega loses against Fortress if the person heavy spams.
Yeah, right. Okay, sorry. This was against Rock Tomb Earthquake, which is again, it's not a set they're gonna run. But
then 100%, yeah.
But yeah. So
also update. My Yanmega is actually the 13th best Yanmega. I don't wanna be spreading false rumors here. Okay, just in case someone decides to be like, no, it's number 13. I saw it. It's 13th best.
That's it's still very solid. Any other Pokemon that you guys would consider or other people should consider from a Jungle Cup perspective?
I think we've mentioned most of the things that I'm currently running. We mentioned it a little bit earlier. I'm strongly considering running a Tangrowth.
Yeah, to tell me the case for Tangrowth.
Well, Tangrowth, it's a standard grass Pokemon. It beats all the things that grass Pokemon beat, but again, it carries Ancient Power, which I think is really key for this meta, because the main weakness for Tangrowth is Bug, both Bug and Flying, and Ancient Power is a fantastic check to those Pokemon if you can get a little bit of energy, and it pairs it with Vine Whip. It's the second fastest rock charge in the after Armaldo, the Vine Whip and Ancient Power. And so if you can store up a little energy, if you can, be smart with your energy, it can one-hit KO all of Tangrowth's main counters. Right. It'll one-hit KO the Masquerain. It'll one-hit KO Yanmega. It'll hit Beedrill extremely hard. It'll hit Noctowl extremely hard. So I think it offers a little extra coverage that you won't get with other grass types. If I were to run a grass type, I'd probably run Tangrowth. The only problem being it doesn't get Frenzy. It doesn't get Power Whip. It doesn't get Grass Knot. It doesn't get any of the quick charging grass moves that you really like, which I think is probably the main weakness.
Yeah, so then your other move would probably be Sludge Bomb?
Sludge Bomb or Solar Beam.
Yeah.
The thing about Tangrowth is you almost never use Sludge Bomb. Unless you're against like a Meganium, it looks like in 90% of the situations, it's just Ancient Power spam.
Yeah.
It's just Vine Whip Ancient Power 100% of the time, and so Solar Beam might be nice as a nuke. You almost will never use it, but I do think the coverage of Solar Beam is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, any other anti-meta Pokemon that you'd be considering? Or when we move on to, you guys were talking earlier that you're going to run pure of single types or moves, or like types of moves. So
yeah,
Matt, why don't you go first? Tell us your plan.
I'm running mono normal. Only normal types. All right. You can at me as much as you want. I'm running mono normal. And Kangaskhan is 100% going on my team. I don't care what anyone says. I know Kangaskhan has Mudslap and No Kick, which are both garbage fast moves, even though it gets Power Up Punch, which is one of the best charge moves. I don't care. I'm running mono normal because it's just funny.
So what else are you running mono normal team of 6?
So right now, Vigoroth is going in it for sure, and so is Kangaskhan. Those are the two that I know for sure are going. I was thinking of Staraptor because it takes care of the counter users. The Wigglytuff because people are doubting Wigglytuff's ability, and I'm going to show them that Wigglytuff can do the damage it needs to do. And then the Barrel is actually pretty good, and so is Ursaring, because Ursaring, I can either do Shadow Claw to spam my fast moves, or I can use Counter to get rid of Vigoroth. Because I was looking at the simulations, and Counter Ursaring doesn't beat Vigoroth, but it almost beats Vigoroth. Which is the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it leaves Vigoroth with like 21 HP, which is enough for anything else to come out and just knock it out.
Right.
Absolutely.
If you wanted extra counter cover, Cast Form gets Hurricane.
Ooh, okay. Cast Form.
I'm getting really into this normal idea.
I want to see
You got
it. I want to see it.
you got Spinda too with Psycho Cut. All right, so let me tell you something about Spinda here. All right, Spinda. Okay, doesn't do anything against Vigoroth. Okay, that's fine. I understand. But now you get Heracross, right? You get Heracross with counter, and you get Psycho Cut. All right, you don't kill Vigoroth. Or you don't kill Heracross. Never mind. Okay, hold on. What about Breloom? Hold on. Wait, I'll make this work. Okay, never mind. Breloom both take care of it.
That was a fun idea for a while.
Right?
Yeah,
I
it
wonder if
really
you could
was.
just run the different versions of Spinda. I'll ask
Oh,
Silvery.
okay.
Oh my god.
I did have another idea that I totally forgot about until now. Girafarig.
Ooh. Because
Oh yes.
does it beat
Girafarig
Vigoroth?
is a normal
Yeah.
type that gets Confusion. And that'll wreck Breloom, it'll wreck Heracross. It gets Thunderbolt for Noctowl.
You're right. They get
Girafarig.
Miracle to spam.
Yeah.
Wait, how much is Miracle? Miracle's 109 with 55, and I think Psychic is 181 with 70. Which one is
Yeah.
better?
I
I think
think Miracle's better.
yeah, just so you can technically spam it a little bit more, but it is a Giraffe Ring.
Yeah. I think the main benefit is that it's it's one of the few in the meta that actually has the psychic typing, which is nice for counter, and Confusion will hit like a truck. It'll take all the poisons. It'll beat Beedrill. It'll beat Venusaur. So
You
yeah,
can use a Barrel that has Water Gun and Surf, which
I love that moveset.
everyone knows how much you can spam Surf, and considering it hits what's going to be basically meta, it hits meta for like neutral damage, and it takes care of the Rock Boys too.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. So Joe,
Oh, and I like Zangoose too. Sorry. Zangoose is also very spammable. You get Fury Cutter and Shadow Claw, the two most spammable fast moves in the whole entire game with Night Slash and Close Combat. I'm sorry. You see, I'm telling you guys. And the only thing that can get rid of the normal types are basically Vigoroth, Heracross, and Breloom. And once you get rid of Heracross and Breloom share the same weakness, so you get rid of those two. Once you get rid of those two, the normal types just come in and just play with everyone else's team. They just go 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2.
Yeah.
Because you can technically use the steel types, but I mean, the steel types are gonna what? Lose against the. We know Fortress loses against Vigoroth. It's gonna lose against Ursaring. So it's not like, I'm really scared of the steel types.
All right, perfect. Joe, you mentioned that you were gonna run. You might potentially run a particular team of 6 that have a common theme.
I'm gonna run all rock. Well, okay, I might not run all. I'm gonna run very, very heavy rock. I'm definitely gonna run a Alolan Graveler or Golem. I think they're fantastic. I think the coverage is amazing, and I'm gonna try and build the rest of my team around flex picks that can deal at least some rock moves. I'm gonna bring a Yanmega. I'm gonna bring an Armaldo. I'm gonna bring a Tangrowth. I played around with the idea of bringing both Golem and Graveler.
Yeah.
Although that would be fun, but it has a lot of weaknesses.
Double up.
Double up on those two. Cradley's interesting. I thought about Dunsparce for a while, but I'm probably not going to use that. I expect to bring at least 3 Pokemon that have access to rock moves, and I could see a reasonable team that had all 6.
Oh wow! Yeah, very nice, very nice. Any other?
Mudslap.
Go ahead.
Mudslap Kangaskhan leaves Fortress with 9 HP. That's all I need to say.
So you're gonna
I'm just saying.
lock up that matchup against Fortress.
I'm just saying. And it gets Outrage, which Outrage hits. It hits hard. It
Not
like
against
it does. No, even with Fortress and Outrage with Resist it does 37 damage to a Fortress. And you sit there and you're like, 37 damage is nothing. Now imagine if 37 damage is half, because Fortress is part steel. Now imagine how much Outrage actually does to everything else in the meta that doesn't resist it, because you only have Fortress and Scizor are the only two Pokemon that resist Outrage. So Outrage does at least 64 damage. 74 damage to everything in the game.
Yeah, with the
Approximately.
same defense stats. Yeah, for sure.
all joking aside, though, I actually did today. I was practicing and I ran a triple rock trio, and I did very well. I led Armaldo with Graveler in the middle, and then Yanmega at the end. It beat Noctowl. It beat all the counter users. There's a lot of coverage there because even though they all have rock moves, they're all very different profiles, and they all do a lot on top of the rock. Yanmega beats all the counter users, which will be a problem for Graveler. And it actually works extremely well. I'll probably add some other things there to cover that. I'll probably still bring a Vigoroth. I'll probably still bring a Noctowl, but I think those three have a lot of synergy together.
Yeah, no,
and I'm going to be looking into them more.
Perfect.
Shadow Claw Earthring beats Fortress, but counter Earthring does not.
Okay.
Probably just because it gets to the charge moves faster, right?
Yeah, it gets to close combat, and I'm doing Hyper Beam instead of Play Rough because I promised King I'm going to use a Pokemon with Hyper Beam. There you go. Earthring, I'm telling you. Earthring's going to come in here.
I said that I would add anyone. Joe, I said I would, on the stream last night, I said I would add anyone to my friends list that in a 5+ round tournament in the championship match, if they land a Hyper Beam as their closing move. As the winning move.
You know,
right?
There you go.
Actually, Hyper Beam does more damage against a Fortress than close combat. Hyper Beam does 74 damage and close combat only does 66. Yeah. And Fortress is resisting Hyper Beam. There you go. Case closed, guys.
Yeah.
Well, it gets stabbed. It gets stabbed.
Yeah,
So.
it gets stabbed, but then you have to divide that by 2. Well, by 0.67?
Yeah.
Because that's how they're doing. I don't know.
1.6,
They're weird.
Yeah, 1.6.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So thank you guys for the really insightful insights. Joe, we'll start with you. Joe, tell us where we can find you on Twitter, on YouTube. Why don't you tell us what your Twitter
Okay,
handle
yeah. My Twitter handle is at Toshi at shutuptoshi9227. And that's probably the best way to get in touch with me.
All right,
it's spelled the way it sounds. So shut up Toshi9227.
perfect. I'll include the link in the description for that.
Yep.
How about you, Matt? Tell us where we can find you.
So my Twitter handle is at SecretTech2. And my YouTube is Matt is Unstoppable. Although I think I tried searching for that and it doesn't really link you to my channel, but I do have the link
on your Twitter, right? So
yeah. I put the link to my channel on Twitter, so you can give me a follow on Twitter, which is also a good way to contact me, and subscribe to my YouTube because I'm gonna be uploading more videos soon, and so I should be able to get more content out.
Perfect. And I'll include your guys' self cards in the description. Yep. So they're going to definitely be looking forward to seeing those lineups and seeing the success that you'll have in this cup and in future cups.
I'm telling you guys, you're going to see pure normal types and a Kangaskhan 100%.
I look forward to those videos.
All right. Perfect. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. And thank you for joining.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.